In this video, what I'd like to do is determine a rotational model of this system that you see here, where T, this torque right here, is going to be my input, and my output is going to be in terms of theta. Now, what is going on in the system? Well, I have a rack and pinion system right here, and my rack is connected to some solid surface with this spring, okay, and we're going to assume that the spring is initially unstretched. The spring is also going to have a spring coefficient of k, and on the other side, the rack is going to experience some damping force, and that damping force is going to have a coefficient of c. That's what's going on with the rack. We're going to be moving towards our left. Now on the pinion's over here, and this pinion has an inertia of IP. It has a radius of r, and it's connected through this shaft right here to some input shaft or a motor. And that motor, we're going to call it a motor, is going to produce some torque and it's going to rotate. And it's going to have an inertia of Im. Now, the other assumption we're going to make is that this shaft right here, it's going to have a negligible inertia, and it's not going to twist at all. So that means any type of torque that we see on this motor, we're also going to see on this pinion. So let's go through and draw the free body diagram of our rack and pinion. If I start with my pinion, right here, I'm going to have some torque that sees from that motor, and that it's not being reduced, it's not being amplified. So if it's a torque T, all I'm going to see is this torque T, like this. Now, I also have the rack below it, and this is where you sort of have to imagine what's happening. So as this turns this clockwise, it has these teeth that are going to mate with the teeth of the rack. So as it's rotating, it's going to be exerting a force that goes this way on the rack. So this force, and I want to move it over here, is going to be exerted on the rack by the pinion. That means going this way at the bottom, and let me just clean this up. There's going to be an equal and opposite force of F. That's a distance of r away from the center. So here's my force F, equal and opposite to this force. And it's going to be some distance, whatever this radius is, r from the center. So those are the forces and moments that are on my pinion. Now, what's happening on this rack right here? Well, as I'm moving, and this is going to be my positive x direction, this is going to be my positive, we'll say, velocity. So as I'm moving in towards the left, that means this spring is stretching, and it was initially unstretched. And I'm going to have a restoring force that tries to bring that spring back. That restoring force is going to have a magnitude of k times x. K is that spring constant, x is how far the spring has been stretched. Now, with my damping force is going to oppose motion, or oppose my velocity. So since I'm moving towards the left, my damping force is going to point to the right. And this is going to be c, the magnitude of the damping force is going to be c times whatever my velocity is, and I'm representing that by x dot. So here is my mass of my rack. Here is the inertia of my pinion. And I'm drawing this in 2D. At this point, you might have done enough of these problems to know that, okay, when I am going to take the equation of motion, I need to take the equation of motion of my pinion and the equation of motion of my rack. I do need to incorporate and take into account the inertia of the motor. So let's do that. So the sum of my moments, so this is for the pinion, the sum of my moments are going to be equal to my inertia, so my equivalent inertia, times my angular acceleration. I'm going to write that as theta double dot. And what's my moment? Let's say this is going to be some torque of T, and then minus F times whatever that radius is, R, is going to be equal to my equivalent inertia, which is IP plus IM times my angular acceleration. Now, maybe you've done this enough and you say, okay, I know that my equivalent inertia is going to be the inertia of the pinion plus the inertia of the mass. If you were not neglecting the inertia of the shaft, that would be in there too, but maybe you don't remember that. And so for your equivalent inertia, you have to go back to looking at kinetic energy. And kinetic energy, I want to look at the rotating elements right there. So I'm going to have 1/2 times I, we'll start with M. So IM. And this is rotating at some angular velocity times squared. Now, we said that the assumption was that they're rigidly fixed together. So that means however fast this is rotating, the pinion is also rotating. So I need to do plus 1/2 IP. The angular velocity is the same, and it's squared. Now I can rewrite this as 1/2 IM plus IP times this angular velocity squared. And right there, that's where I get my equivalent inertia from. So here's my equivalent inertia. So now the next thing I need to do is I need to look at the equation of motions of the rack. So with the rack over here, I'm going to start, it's only linear motion. It's not rotating. So I have the sum of the forces is equal to the mass times acceleration. And I'm going to say anything going to the left is going to be positive. So it coincides with my direction right here. So what do I have? I'm going to have my force is equal to, my force minus C x dot, this force right here, minus K times X. This force right here is equal to whatever my mass is, so mr times my acceleration. I'm going to write that as x double dot. So I should have wrote right here as x double dot, but it's equivalent. And now I just sort of like to keep my x dots on one side of the equation, put them together. So what I'm going to have is I'm going to have mr x double dot plus c x dot plus kx is equal to f. So right now, I'm just going to circle these two, or star these two equations so I don't lose them. These are the two equations that I'm working with. Here's my equation of motion of the pinion. Here's my equation of motion of my rack. What I can do is I can solve this equation right here for f and plug it in down here. So when I do that, I'm going to have minus f times r is equal to ip plus im theta double dot minus t. Now I'm going to distribute this sign right here. So I'm going to get minus this term plus this term, and I'm going to divide by r. So this entire thing is going to be divided by r. And later we'll just distribute that negative sign a little bit more. Okay, so now what I can do is I can substitute this right there. And what I get is mr x double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to minus ip plus im theta double dot plus t divided by r. And I want to have t as my input. So I want to get t on one side, and I want to get all my thetas and theta double dots on the other side. But you'll notice that right here, this is in terms of x. Well, we can handle that because we know if x is equal to r theta, then x dot, my velocity, is equal to r theta dot, and my acceleration, x double dot, is going to be equal to r theta double dot. So we can just substitute these in. I'll do that right now. So mr r theta double dot plus c r theta dot plus k r theta is equal to this side of the equation minus ip plus im theta double dot plus t divided by r. Now we're going to multiply by r. So I'm actually going to get rid of that right now. And what happens is all of these r's right here become r squared. Now I can move this minus sign to the other side of the equation, and I'll get ip plus im theta double dot plus mr r squared theta double dot plus cr squared theta dot plus kr squared theta is equal to t. Finally, what I can do is I can combine these two terms right here, and when I combine them, I get ip plus im plus mr r squared theta double dot plus cr squared theta dot plus kr squared theta is equal to t. And that is my answer. So on this side, we have everything in terms of theta, or theta dot or theta double dot. And on this side, we have everything in terms of our torque, or t. So hopefully this has given you an idea of how we can take a physical system and come up with an equivalent model for it. And then if we had actual numbers, we'd put the numbers in, and maybe we use a Laplace transform, maybe we would use differential equations, but we would be able to solve this system for what we wanted it to do.